Isn't it? Isn't it, Pompey, taking the comforts of the home?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Really. But hopefully we're also longing for offline, because we haven't been. Of course, we did it last year also, and we'll be having another one in May. That will be offline.
There are actually, different charms to both the things. I mean, both online as well as offline.
Offline, right, right.
A lot of things, you can't do, a lot of activities you can't have it online on online platform.
Yeah. But at the same time, it enables us to reach out to people who are living distant places, which wouldn't be possible, in the normal kind of
new normal.
For example, this very example of myself having an opportunity, to interact with you all being seated in Delhi, otherwise it wouldn't have been possible. So
exactly.
Yes.
So this is a blessing. This is a blessing. We are getting to know you.
Definitely a blessing.
IT.
No two ways about it. Yes.
IT is a blessing for us if we use it in the best way. If we use
it depends on how you use it. Definitely.
Yeah. That's very correct. I think Archana by 7 will start.
Yes.
And I will also speak very briefly. I'll give more time to our guest of the month. And I think by 7, and let the other join in Facebook and also in YouTube. As soon as we get around, I think 14 to 15 will.
Recording in progress.
But this is stop to Bob one.
So, ma'am, you have these meetings every month?
Yeah, we started from last June.
Okay.
It is the birth centenary year of our founder president, actually. And for that, and also this Amrit Mahotsav, both combining. We're doing from last June, it will be till June this year. Okay. Then again, we'll start a new one, new program. Oh. Biju, মই হেৰি কন্টেক্ট কৰিব পৰা নাই, আউট অফ ৰিচ দেখুৱাই আছে। আমি 7টাত আৰম্ভ কৰি 7টাত আৰম্ভ কৰি দিম এতিয়া by 7 দেই, starting with the state anthem. Okay, fine. As usual, we'll start with her state anthem, I think very soon. Possibility to also start.
Actually, Pompey, both Nilima ma'am and myself have a think about time. So we are always here before time. We are always here.
Always before time. Even in the airport, bus station,
Yes,
railway
yes.
station.
But actually, ma'am, more khetrotu tenekwai. I also like before, to be before time.
Asalte, this is an advantage, যদি সময়তকে অকমান আগতে
সঁচা।
অহা হয়, you can
Tension নাথাকে, no?
no tension, you can mentally be set, like,
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
That's good for you. Actually, good for all.
I find it very helpful, very supportive.
Yeah, your anxiety goes down.
Yesterday it happened to me. I left Rundi's house at around 12:30. Okay, and my flight was at 3. So there was a huge traffic jam in the flyover. This Dwarka flyover. And I was at the flyover till 1 o'clock and my flight at 3. And the tension started. And what to do? I said, tension, mat kijiye, time ho jayega. He started giving me advice, the driver. But somehow I reached in time.
Yeah.
Delhi and Guwahati is also becoming, too much of traffic jam.
Yes.
We have just 2 minutes to go, Vaido.
2 minutes. I talked with Biju and Baban. At 7 they would start with the state anthem. আজি পম্পি আমাৰ এটা খুব ভাল workshop project based learning. Okay. It was 5 days. It was conducted by Bapuji College, Kurukhetri, Borpetar. It was wonderful with relation with the national education policy.
Okay, বঢ়িয়া.
But
আপোনালোকৰ তাৰমানে বহুত active হয়.
Yes. The chapter is very active. We go on working for the teachers. I hope they will just give us the response that we want. We are doing our duty, Pompey. We are doing our duty. That they should be at par with other teachers of the world. Isn't it? They should be at par with other teachers.
Yes.
They should have exposures. And today's program is actually for the parents as well as for all teachers, right from foundation stage to the higher.
Yes, actually, this is a topic very dear to my heart, and Asalte, I have been also wanting to do, parenting workshops on emotional intelligence. Clinical junbur ahe, behavioral issues loi pelai, parents se ahe, bacha loi pelai. Tete to hebla tekhet hokolok ami kong ki keneke. It is basically, teaching parents how they can help develop emotional intelligence skills in children. And same bostu to actually school to koribo pari, because that age group horute jodi we can develop those skills just like we teach other things.
Sorry for the interruption. I think it is 7 o'clock, and let me just open up. So, good evening, everyone, and namaste. On behalf of Council for Teacher Education, CTEF, in short, Assam chapter, I welcome our invited speaker of the special Guest of the Month program, Mrs. Pompey Sharma, our International Secretary General, Professor Nilima Bhagwati ma'am, all our virtual participants and viewers watching our program on YouTube and Facebook. For your information, let me tell you, this program is organized jointly by CTEF, Assam chapter, and our partner, Gracia Technology, Guwahati, Assam. This month, our topic is emotional intelligence, which is a much discussed topic these days and has been highlighted in a new education policy 2022. Before moving on, I request Gracia Technology to play the Jatiyo Hongit. Over to you. Sound, please.
Where?
The sound is muted, Baba.
The audio is not there. I think play from the beginning.
Yes, I think it is necessary.
Baba,
play from the please play from the beginning. Yes. There's no sound. There's some problem with the sound. Thank you, Grisha Technology. Now, before I proceed, I would like to request all the participants present here to keep their audio muted to avoid any technical hitches. I repeat once again, please keep your audio muted. Once the presentation is over by the guest speaker, if you have a question, then you can unmute and raise your question. Now to proceed, let me invite our International Secretary General and President of Council for Teacher Education Assam Chapter, Professor Nilima Bhagavati, who needs no introduction because everyone knows her. She is a renowned educationist. You can call her a social worker also, working round the clock for the cause of education. And so now it's over to you, Nilima Bhagavati ma'am, to give your welcome address. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Archana Bhattacharjee. We are once again virtually meeting each other, and namaskar to all. On behalf of Council for Education Assam Chapter, at the very outset, let me welcome our guest speaker for the month of March 2022, Pompey Sharma, who is a teacher, counselor, a wonderful job she's doing. She is a counseling psychologist and a life coach. And lots more. She's a wonderful personality, wonderful person, to sum up. In fact, this is an opportunity for us to invite her, because as we know, CTF, and for your information, Pampi Sharma, we are taking the pertinent issues which are important for the student community, as well as for the teaching community, as well as for the parents. And today's theme, it is both for the parents and for the teachers as well, okay? Because the theme itself is emotional intelligence. Most of us are very familiar with the word IQ. Practically, the students who are from the field of education or field of psychology, they are used to the word IQ. They got it from the measurement of intelligence scale long time back. But this IQ, it has come to many other areas, developing new names like EQ, SQ, AQ. I'll just mention a little bit of each of them and leave it rest to our speaker today. So when we talk of IQ, we usually talk of IQ, that he has less IQ, he has more IQ. Sometimes we don't go very deep into these two, alphabets, I and Q. But friends, we know that it is the measurement. When we say IQ, it is the measurement of the comprehension, the ability of solving problems, understanding. But let me also tell you that sometimes it has been found out. Also, I have read in a journal, a person of high IQ, he may not be high in emotional EQ or in emotional intelligence. That is also being proved. So from IQ, when we come to the word, the EQ, we find that it is measuring your ability to be responsible, to be a responsible person, understanding your reciprocal relationship, lots of things come. Maintaining peace with others, maintaining rapport, positive rapport with others. Also, EQ, emotional intelligence, it represents your character. Sometimes, what happens? We see in front of us after an incident how a person behaves. And that reflects the emotional intelligence of a person. Suppose someone says a word. Let me tell you, I just, it's a temptation to use this small little example, which is in reality. Just 2 years back, before the pandemic, my driver stopped the vehicle in front of a garage to check the air. Sakar, jitu hawa sabule. All of a sudden, the owner of the house came out and he said very rudely to my driver, take out the car from this place, go away from here. He said, and he went inside. Just after that, his son came. I don't believe his son is more than 8 years old. The son came and said, Oi, gari khoni apna lo ja, take out this car from here. This is the instance of how the people behave, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence plays an extremely important role in our life, Important role, it shows how we are. Our personality is reflected. Our sum up, when we talk about the personality, the sum up of all the attributes, the emotional factor is one of them, or the intelligence is one of them. Gradually, new words have come. We have heard about the adversity quotient, adversity intelligence. We are coming to the spiritual intelligence also, that is SQ2. When we talk of adversity intelligence, that is measuring the ability to handle rough, tough, and difficult situation. That is also, these are some examples we can see in everyday life, how people handle the situation. Some people cannot handle the situation, they become wild. And some can handle the situation, that is, their AQ is high, okay? And when we talk again of the spiritual quotient, spiritual intelligence, yes, the weightage we give to certain values, the weightage we give when we do something, or taking the right decision, okay, or thinking logically, etc., etc. Lots of examples to give, that all comes under that. So all these plays a pertinent role in our life. but emotional intelligence we have chosen. Later on, we'll have the opportunity to invite Pompi Sharma again. We'll have very good interaction with her. But today for 40 minutes to 45 minutes, we'll interact with her. She'll be interacting with us, both for the parents and teachers, on emotional intelligence. I'm sure her presentation will open the mind of everyone today. How we are behaving at home, how we are behaving in society, how we are behaving in our workplace or in our institutions. Friends, please listen to her and just give an insight to what she says. And later on, if you have to ask any question, don't ask in between. If you have any question to ask, you are free to ask, but we won't allow to ask more than 3 questions because we have time constraint. It is only for 1 hour program. Okay. With these words, I welcome again Pompi. You are a wonderful personality. We became friends. We know each other from long time, but we met suddenly in Delhi. We became friends. And my friend, in the capacity of being friends, I will not leave you to enlighten our teaching community with different skills, which will guide them, which will take them to be wonderful teachers. Thank you very much. And I thank everybody, all the YouTube viewers, Facebook viewers, and who are participants here. Please listen to her. And with these words, I declare this interaction program, the Guest of the Month interaction program, open. Thank you very much and namaskar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Nilima ma'am. Thank you, Archana ma'am, for the lovely introduction. And actually, it is an honor to, be here, to be speaking about emotional intelligence, which is a topic very dear to me, as I said earlier.
Mrs. Pompi Sharma, first let me introduce you to the participants.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me introduce you to the participants.
And please mute all the microphones, okay? All the microphones, please mute.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Professor Nilima Bhagwati ma'am, as usual, in a very short, brief manner. She has welcomed everyone and she has also highlighted the importance of the topic that is going to be dealt with by the speaker of our Guest of the Month program. Now, I feel privileged to get the opportunity to introduce her to all of you participants and viewers. And let me start off with her educational qualification. She has done her master's in psychology from IGNOU and has acquired life coach certification from International Association of Professional Coach, Counselor, and Therapist. She has been certified as an emotional intelligence coach by International Association of Professional Coaches. She has a diploma in neuro-linguistic programming from American Board of Neuro-Linguistic Programming. She also has diploma in student counseling and has done her B.Ed from Guwahati University in 2009 and her MSc, Masters in Chemistry from Guwahati University in 2000. Right now, she's working as a counseling psychologist and has extensive experience in dealing with issues like anxiety, stress, marital problems, loneliness, depression, etc. She also provides emotional support and helps people cope with these issues in the best possible ways. She also works as a life coach and with her vast reservoir of experience has been helping her clients deal with different issues like setting goals, handling dilemma situations, and uses NLP techniques to make her coaching processes more powerful. Working as an emotional intelligence coach, she strives to raise awareness in children, parents, and teachers about the importance of emotional quotient in today's time and about ways to develop emotional intelligence. She is a student counselor and has successfully counseled students with various emotional and behavioral issues. Her working experience as a teacher has helped her to understand the various needs of children and given her a lot of experience in dealing with emotional issues of children and helping them cope with these issues. After giving this short profile, or rather sharing the short profile of our guest speaker with all of you participants, I'm sure all of you are very, very keen to listen to her. So I will not waste time, and I request our guest speaker of this month, and we are indeed privileged to have you in our midst today. In spite of your hectic schedule, you have come to our midst to share your resources with us, with all the participants and the viewers watching on YouTube, on Facebook Live. So the stage is yours. It's over to you, Mrs. Pompi Sharma. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Archana ma'am. Thank you so much, Nilima ma'am, for the lovely introduction. And I feel indeed honored to be a part of this virtual meet and virtual webinar. And so, you know, to speak about a topic which is very, very close to my heart. So the topic is emotional intelligence. So I will be sharing my screen, and let us just begin, you know, to understand what emotional intelligence is and what those skills are. And I'm just sharing my screen. Just a second. So can you, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah, but okay. Yes. Okay. So, you know, emotional intelligence of late has been, you know, the topic of discussion, and so much of research work has been done on this topic. And so people have gradually, you know, realized the importance of emotional intelligence. And it is actually, you know, there is so much of need, I feel, to increase awareness of you know, the importance of emotional intelligence among people, among parents, teachers, amongst everyone. So let us see by understanding what is emotional intelligence. And today probably I'll be only covering, you know, about the understanding emotional intelligence part because of time constraint. And probably in future, probably, you know, if we get time, we meet up, then probably again we can discuss, we can take forward the same session. So before understanding what is emotional intelligence, let us begin by understanding what emotions are. Now, all of us, we experience emotions. We experience sadness, we experience anger, we experience fear. I mean, all of us experience emotions, but when we are asked to define what an emotion is, it becomes very difficult. We use the word feeling and emotion interchangeably, but actually, if you see, feeling is just one part of emotion. So emotion actually has three aspects to it. The physiological response, as you know, aspect. For example, if you're feeling anxious or angry or fearful, what happens is that your breathing becomes very rapid. Your heart starts beating very fast. You may break into sweats, you will get sweaty palms. So that is the physiological aspect. Then also you have the cognitive aspect, wherein you interpret the situation and which leads to a subjective feeling. That is the feeling part and the cognitive part. And then what you do as a result of that emotion, that is the behavioral part. Do you freeze when you are, you know, when you suddenly encounter something that you fear? Whether you just attack when you are angry? So that is the behavioral response part. So it is very important to always think of emotions in you know, with these three elements of emotions. So there has been a lot of research about emotion, and after a lot of research in 1972, Paul Ekman, he found that there are these 6 basic emotions that are universal throughout human culture. These are the emotions: happiness, sadness, you know, fear, anger, surprise, disgust. So these are the 6 basic emotions that he gave us. And though we, all of us have a tendency to classify emotions as either positive emotion or negative emotion, but no, emotions are just emotions. Every emotion has a purpose. The purpose of fear is to protect us, right? Similarly, we feel angry when we feel wronged, and that, motivates us to take a stand. So every emotion has a purpose. And like Dr. Susan David, who is author of the book Emotional Agility. So this is again a new term which has come, emotional agility. So she actually, says that no emotion is positive or negative. They are just emotions. It is what we do with these emotions that make it positive or negative. So in the 1980s, Robert Plutchik, he introduced another emotion classification, which is known as the wheel of emotions. And if you look up online, you'll find a lot of wheels of emotions. And this is the wheel of emotions that he gave. In this, he gave 8 basic emotions, 4 sets of polar opposites, I would say, like anger versus fear. They're opposite emotions in terms of the physiological response also. Because when you're fearful, you like to hide and become small. And when you are angry, you tend to become very loud, So they are polar opposites. Similarly, joy, sadness, then anticipation, surprise. Then you have disgust, trust. So other than that, in this wheel, you will also find words for different intensity of the same emotion. If you see this petal, annoyance, anger, rage, when in mild intensity, it is annoyance. When it is, a little more than that, it is anger. And when there is lot of anger, there is rage. Then other than this, he also gave us certain combinations of emotions. For example, when a person is experiencing anticipation and joy at the same time, he is experiencing optimism. Similarly, joy and trust at the same time, the person is experiencing love. So similarly, we get a lot of other combinations as well. So this wheel of emotions and the other wheel of emotions which are available online, they help in developing our emotional vocabulary. And this is particularly useful for children. For smaller children, of course, we'll use simpler words, and parents can use very simple words at home to help them name the emotion they're experiencing. And for us also, most of us, we are at a loss to label the emotions. So it is very important to develop that emotional literacy. So this wheel of emotions helps in that. So let us finally come to the emotional intelligence part. So what is emotional intelligence? So emotional intelligence is nothing but having an understanding of one's own emotions and also having an understanding of others' emotions. So this term was coined by John Mayer and Peter Salovey in 1990, and they actually wrote an article on it. And then this term was popularized among general public by Daniel Goleman through his book Emotional Intelligence in 1995. His book was Emotional Intelligence and Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. So he defined emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize emotions in oneself and in others, and use that information for motivating ourselves, and also understand emotions well in ourselves and in others, and also use this information for building relationships and for other things. So there are a lot of misconceptions about emotional intelligence. Like, people think that emotionally intelligent people, won't be able to handle, conflict. They will be like avoiding conflict. But no, actually emotionally intelligent people have, a lot of competencies that are very helpful in conflict situations. They know how to diffuse conflict situations. For example, they are very assertive. They know how to communicate. So another misconception is that emotional intelligence means, giving free rein to feelings, letting emotions overpower us. But no, emotional intelligence, on the contrary, it means understanding the purpose of the emotion and then deciding on how to express it in an appropriate manner. And then again, levels of emotional intelligence are fixed genetically. That is another misconception. But no, actually children are not born with EI. EI skills can be learned. And it is found that, research has found that actually EI skills, they actually tend to peak in 50s and 60s. So emotional intelligence keep on developing. So these are learnable skills, which is a wonderful thing about it. Now, the focus on emotional intelligence is more now because now a lot of research studies have shown that emotional intelligence is probably more important than IQ. A person, like Nilima ma'am said, it is not necessary that a person with high IQ will also have high EQ. And if the person doesn't have high EQ, if the person is suppose running a business, he won't be able to have those beautiful, he won't be able to build interpersonal relationships, healthy interpersonal relationships. And that is very important for running business, right? So there was this one more study, one more book actually, I forgot the name. I think it was Thomas Stanley, who interviewed millionaires, multimillionaires, and asked them, which 5 factors do you think contribute to your success? And in those top 5 factors, 3 of them were emotional intelligence skills. And the cognitive intelligence actually ranked at 24th. So emotional intelligence is very important also for kids, for us. It helps us to regulate our emotions. It helps us to handle distressing situations. It helps us to build good relationships with people around us. In children, it helps them in academics also. It helps them, they get better at impulse control. They get better at reality testing. They get better at assertiveness. So many different things can be done just by developing these EI skills. So let us first see what is Goleman's EI model. So initially he gave 4 domains of emotional intelligence in 1995, but later on in 2002 he reduced it to 4 domains. So these are these are self-awareness, self-regulation or self-management, empathy, and then we have social skills or relationship management. Now, all these 4 domains are related. For example, so here you see they form the 4 quadrants. So it is awareness of self, awareness of others, management of self, and management of relationship with others. Now, one quadrant is dependent on the other. For example, self-management is dependent on self-awareness. Unless you are aware of your emotions, how will you regulate your emotions? How will you manage your emotions? Similarly, unless you know emotions in others, unless you have that ability to recognize emotion in others, and also awareness of your own emotions, and is able to regulate your own emotions, how are you going to build relationships? So all these quadrants, especially relationship management, is actually dependent on other 3 quadrants. So let us begin by understanding what each of the domain means. Now, self-awareness is nothing but being aware of what emotion you are experiencing and why you are experiencing it. So it involves identifying the emotion. For example, okay, I am feeling anxious. So then questioning oneself, what is causing this emotion? Why am I feeling anxious? Okay, I am feeling anxious because I want this presentation to go well. So understanding the thought behind the emotion, and sometimes also you have to be careful when we are identifying the emotion. Some of the emotions that we identify are secondary emotions. For example, anger. Anger always is, almost always is a secondary emotion. You feel angry when you feel hurt, or you feel angry when you feel humiliated, So it is very important to go beneath this emotion and find out if there is another emotion beneath that first emotion that you see. So, and then also understanding how your emotions impact others. For example, I'm driving my car with my child in the car, and suddenly a car, overtakes me, and the person is driving very rashly. And suddenly, I get scared. I get fearful. Okay, there could have been an accident, I would feel. And that is fear is the primary emotion. Now, immediately after that, I'll feel very angry. How dare he do that? Doesn't he have sense? So now I have to understand what I'm feeling. So I'm actually feeling fear, which resulted in anger. And then why was I feeling fear? Because this thing happened, the situation happened, and I thought I'm in danger. And then understanding how my emotions may impact others. My son is with me. So now if in anger, I start driving rashly, that will have an impact on my son or on other people on the road. So this is what self-awareness is. Next is self-regulation. Now, self-regulation or self-management means, it involves handling of distressing emotions, unpleasant emotions. So many people think that we need to suppress those distressing emotions. We actually tell our children also, don't be, you cannot be angry. Okay, don't be angry, don't show your anger. We often do that, don't we? So we often think that it means suppression of emotion. No, it doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. You need to express your emotions, but in an appropriate way. So you need to understand the purpose of the emotion, what signal it is giving. Again, I'll quote Dr. Susan David. She says that distressing emotions or difficult emotions are actually like signposts that tell you about something that you care about or value, or something that you need. For example, if I'm feeling overwhelmed by work, that means that must be a signal. This overwhelming feeling might be a signal that I need a break. If I'm anxious about this presentation, that means I care about giving a good presentation. So understanding the purpose of the emotion, that is very important, and then deciding on what to do about it. So one important goal of this self-regulation is to prevent amygdala hijack. Now, that is a term that you can search online also. This term was again coined by by Daniel Goleman in his 1995 book, Emotional Intelligence. Now, what is amygdala hijack? So amygdala hijack is when your emotions take a grip on you. You do things, you react to situations without thinking. Road rage cases are classic examples of amygdala hijack. So let me just explain very quickly on, how this works. So emotions actually, they originate in our limbic system. which is a group of interconnected structures of like amygdala, hippocampus, hypothalamus. Okay, so our brain, in very simply, if I say, it is divided into two parts, the logical brain and the emotional brain. And now the logical brain, the processing speed of the logical brain is slower than the processing speed of the emotional brain. So that is why what happens whenever you are experiencing intense emotion, amygdala, which is actually the center of the emotional brain, it takes control. And it hijacks the brain. You are not able to think logically then. And then you react to situations. You don't respond, you just react, you know, and then what happens is that you regret later. Why did I do it? So the amygdala hijack is actually characterized by sudden emotional reaction, strong emotional reaction, often very disproportionate to whatever situation it is, you know, like shouting, yelling, sometimes punching also, breaking things, sometimes crying, and it happens suddenly. And then of course, later on, you realize that it was a mistake, you regret it, you feel embarrassed about it. So one goal of emotional, of self-regulation, emotional regulation is to prevent amygdala hijack. And this can be just done. The simplest way to do this is just to name the emotion that you are experiencing. Like we said in self-awareness part, you know, to identify the emotion. So now to give a label to the emotion. And for example, we see, okay, there was this research again done on people and their brain scans done, MRI done. So these people were shown distressing pictures and their brain scans were also being taken simultaneously. It was found that their amygdala lights up when they see this distressing, you know, pictures. And then they are asked to name the emotion, to give a word to that emotion that they are experiencing. For example, fear, panic. And the minute they do this, they see that in the brain scan, amygdala gets inhibited. Instead, prefrontal cortex, which is the center of the logical brain, that starts getting activated. So simple naming the emotion really helps. Then again, we can change, you know, we can regulate our emotions also by changing our physiology, by changing those physiological responses. For example, when you are angry, when you are feeling anxious, your breathing pattern changes. You breathe very shallow, you know, so shallow breathing is done and there is less oxygen in the body. As a result, your heart starts, you know, beating faster. So to counter that, we need to breathe deeply. So simply by doing that, for example, and it has to be tummy breathing, okay? So, and, you know, again, to breathe in and just by doing this, you know, a couple of times, you will force a change in the physiology and which will result in change of the emotion. Because as you remember in the first, I think in the second slide itself, we saw that emotion has a physiological aspect to it. So when you change the physiology, your emotion also changes. So that is another way of regulating your emotion. There are countless other ways, we'll see to it later. So next one is empathy, or what we call social awareness. So empathy is simply recognizing emotion in others and also communicating to them that you are recognizing what emotion they are experiencing and from their perspective. So putting yourself in the other person's shoes and experiencing their world and experiencing what they're, you know, what they're going through. That is what empathy is. So it involves taking the other person's perspective non-judgmentally. That is very important because we are used to be so judgmental about everything. So we need to practice non-judgment, being non-judgmental. And then recognizing that emotion in other people and also being able to communicate. That is where we actually, most of us falter, while communicating that, okay, we understand what you're going through. So let us see one video which I really found interesting, because most of us, we get very confused between the word sympathy and empathy. So this video will show you what actually is okay.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, climb down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Okay, so actually what was said in the video, actually we do it very often about the silver lining part. I'm saying, I have a lot of counselors coming to me in distressing situations, of course, and they say how people react to them. For example, this girl who has recently lost her father, she came for, for her therapy, and she said, people tell me that at least he did not suffer. The same, using that word, at least he did not suffer. And it doesn't make things better for her. She says, he was my father. How does saying that at least he did not suffer make it better for me? So sometimes it is just, it is good to say, okay, I really don't have words to, say, but yes, I'm there for you. That itself is showing empathy. And of course, when we say at least, he did not suffer, that is very well-meaning. You know, we try to make things better for the other person, but in reality, yes, you know, there is when the person is under distressing situation, actually it doesn't help. So empathy is, like I said, recognizing that emotion. For example, you are very happy and you have recently bought a car. You want to share your happiness with your friend, and you go and see that your friend seem to be worried. Now, first step is noticing that emotion. So social awareness kicks in, and then you have to regulate your own emotion. You have to, you know, because you'll have to have that urge of, you know, sharing your happy news with the person. So you will have to now empathize with the person. You have to let him know that, okay, I noticed that you are worried. So you can say, okay, you seem to be worried. So what is the matter? You can share with me. So that itself is showing empathy. You know, and then comes relationship management. Like relationship management, it involves actually putting all the other three domains, the knowledge of all the three domains, and using those information in building healthy interpersonal relationships. So a lot of other sub skills or competences are there in this domain, but yes, you know, it empathy definitely helps in building relationships. Then trust building, conflict management, that is another area, you know, where emotional intelligence skills help. For example, you find that your co-worker or colleague is very angry, and he starts yelling at you over something which is very, you know, very small, and you feel immediately, you too feel angry, you know, because emotions are contagious, and there is actually a term for it. It is emotional contagion. So, you know, so you start feeling angry, and so the minute you feel angry, you will have, you know, there is a probability of amygdala hijacking you. So you have to prevent that. So you have to now regulate your emotions. You have to use certain skills like deep breathing, like labeling the emotion, understanding why you are feeling it, and then use empathy to the other person. So you can say, okay, you seem to be very angry, and I see that you are angry because you feel very strongly about it. And you feel that I'm not understanding your point of view. And the minute you say that, the person will wonder what is wrong. This person is, you know, agreeing with me. And also this very sentence will force his prefrontal cortex, his logical brain, to kick in, because he will try and try to make sense of what you are saying. Because to his emotional brain, that is not making sense. So his logical brain will kick in and his anger will come down. So you see, after, you know, seeing all the four domains that we discussed about: self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, relationship management, actually EI is not a new concept. It has been there for ages. It has been referred, different aspects of it have been referred to in our ancient scriptures by these Greek philosophers, Aristotle, Plato, by religious leaders. For example, when Aristotle said that anyone can become angry, that is easy, but being angry with the right person to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and the right way, now that is not easy. He was referring to emotional regulation. Similarly, be kind. Every person you meet is fighting a difficult battle. That is empathy, right? And even in psychology, if you see in theory of multiple intelligence, Howard Gardner actually, you know, he referred to intrapersonal and interpersonal intelligence. So mindfulness is one way. I think I'm running out of time. Do I have time, Nilima ma'am and Archana ma'am?
Hello. Yes, Pompey.
Yeah, do I have some time left, ma'am?
Actually, we do have a time constraint, but I think we can give you another 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll quickly speak about mindfulness then.
Okay, okay.
So mindfulness is one way of developing emotional intelligence. So mindfulness, when you practice mindfulness, research has shown that, there has been this Harvard study. So there they saw that when people practice mindfulness for 8 weeks, their amygdala got, inhibited. And they also saw that hippocampus grew larger, the gray matter grew. Which means that hippocampus is associated with emotional awareness as well as regulation, as well as compassion. So that increases. And so this has been is scientifically proven that mindfulness helps in developing emotional intelligence. It helps in regulating your emotions. So mindfulness is about paying attention to the present moment without any judgment. For example, I'm sitting here and I have to just notice things around me. I have to pay attention to the sounds. So basically use my senses, and I'm mindfully present in the moment. Because most of the time we are present in our head, we are never present in the present. So mindfulness is about being in the here and now. Also being aware of your thoughts and feelings. That is again mindfulness. So there are different forms of mindfulness, tools which can be used, but we will not go into that. So other ways are labeling emotions, which we already discussed. You can journal, write emotions, what thoughts are behind those emotions. You can use breathing for regulating your emotions, then emotional audit. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? So what do I do now? And how am I getting in my own way? Is my thinking helping me? Is this way of thinking helping me? Or is there an alternate way of thinking which will arouse a different emotion in me? And what do I need to do differently now? So when again you are asking these questions in emotional audit, you are forcing your prefrontal cortex to work. So that is again, it helps in developing emotional intelligence. Then again, there is the 6-second rule, ROPER, when you're experiencing especially anger. So that you don't react immediately, you first recognize, then acknowledge, okay, I'm feeling angry, then understand why you are feeling angry, and then take a deep breath while taking a pause, then evaluate. Is there an alternative explanation? Is there something else that I can do? And then give an appropriate response. So this is Johari window, but this will take time. So I won't, go into it. So yeah. So that is all about emotional intelligence. I hope, this was useful because all of you took out your precious time to attend this. And so thank you for listening so patiently. And now if anyone has any questions.
Okay, thank you, Pompi Sharma. That was indeed a beautiful presentation. You have given us plenty of food for thought, and personally speaking, it was an eye-opener for me. So emotional intelligence, from what I understood from your presentation, in a nutshell, could be termed as the ability to understand, use, and manage our emotions in a positive ways to relieve the stress and communicate more effectively, empathize with others, and overcome challenge and diffuse conflict. These are the areas you have highlighted, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we have really learned a lot. There are many situations that we handle and we are not being able to do it in the proper manner, but from your presentation, we have at least learned something. So maybe we'll be able to cope with negative situations in our own personal lives in a better way. Now, we can, because yes, there may be a lot of questions or there may be some doubt clearing from the side of the participants who are with us here today. And I'm sure they have also learned a lot. But if you have any questions, we'll take in 3 or 4 questions at the most. So now the platform is open for discussion. It's over to you, participants. If any one of you have any
questions to ask?
Yes, any questions to ask him, please feel free. This is a wonderful opportunity.
I think you all are teachers.
Yeah.
Most of them are teachers. They should have questions, right? They should have questions. Before the others begin, Pompey, I'd just like to say your presentation was excellent, wonderful, in a very simple way. And myself also being the counselor, I understood how plainly and how very in a simple manner you have explained. And I'm sure all the viewers and all the participants who were here, they understood. And I'm sure they all have questions. Maybe they're hesitating right now, but if they want, they can put in the chat box, or they can just send it to me or to our Vice Chairman, Archana Bhattacharya, which will be answered by our guest of the month today.
Yes.
I just want to tell you one thing, which I'm really impressed about the emotional regulation program. Poppy, one thing, like the schools have counselors, as far as my experience goes, colleges have counselors, but they have nothing to do with all this because they are not trained in that line.
Yes.
That is where the things are going wrong. That is where the things are going wrong, you know. So what I think, the first-hand counselor, they should be, the teacher should be the first-hand counselor. And I feel myself, I'm feeling so much, you know, from my heart, that every teacher should go for a workshop on emotional regulation program to understand the emotions of their children, the students, and their old children at home.
Yes.
And because of this, you know, deficiency they have, lots of, you know, bad, fatal things are going on, including the suicide.
Yes, very true.
Including the suicide.
Very true, ma'am.
Including the suicide. I'm telling you, it is so pathetic. It is so pathetic. This is because of the lack of knowledge of the parents and lack of knowledge of the teachers. So I assure you, from the city of Assam, definitely, if you can give us time during the evening hours, we'd like to have a workshop. We'd like to have a workshop for 3 days, continuous 3 days, say for 1 hour. At least let our children and let our parents learn something to regulate the emotions of their children.
Actually, ma'am,
and their
it's
students.
very important. The first round, we can have the parents, the guardians coming in.
Yes, ma'am, that is very important because, you know, at home, you know, children actually learn by modeling. Like ma'am, you know, gave that example that father came and, you know, spoke rudely, and then the son came, and he actually, he modeled father's
his father.
Yeah, so, you know, children learn by what they see around them happening. So it's very important that parents are also aware.
And Pompey, I'd like to praise you because the National Education Policy is giving stress on guidance and counseling, wellness program, and every teacher must be first-hand counselor. If some very acute or very sensitive problem goes on, okay, we'll pass it to the clinical psychologist. But to deal with the emotions, to deal with the other aspects of the children, they have to be the first-hand counselors. So there is no other way. Every teacher must become counselor in the real sense.
Yes.
So we are just, you know, igniting their minds right now. So come up, my friends. You have to be a counselor. Your job is not only reading something from the textbook. Your job is not only evaluating. You have lots of responsibility to come out of the classroom.
Yes, true.
You have to involve. Yes, definitely.
Yes,
you know.
Even when we think of our favorite teacher, ma'am.
Yes.
The qualities, if we think, lot of those qualities fall in the emotional intelligence.
Exactly. All of us, we still remember our favorite teacher. All of us, if you go back, you know, see how they so, you know, comfortable, caring, how they understood, how the reciprocal they were, how they
made us feel.
Yes. They feel.
We all felt like a VIP in their presence, you know. They give us a lot of importance.
Yeah.
So
that is called emotional
intelligence. Right?
Yeah.
Any one of the participants
Anyone,
have any
please.
questions? Baidu has already broken the ice. She always does that. She takes the initiative. She breaks the ice. You know.
Yeah, I broke the ice. Now
So
you
we'll
just.
be very happy. We'll be very happy. If everyone remains silent, I'll have to also bring in a feeler from my side. I'd just like to ask you, why does it happen that, you know, children are not free and they're not discussing their emotional problems with their mothers at home?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, that is often seen, ma'am, also because of the way we react to their emotions.
Exactly.
Because what happens when a child is trying to share something deep with mom, with the mother, he wants, you know, to be listened to. He
Exactly.
wants his emotions to be validated. So what happens is, if the mother hears something and the mother reacts, you know, in a judgmental way, the child feels judged. And so the second time, the child will feel, okay, my mom is going to say this, will not understand me. And that very feeling, you know, that my mom is not going to, no one is going to understand me. That is where the problem lies. And that is the reason why the child stops sharing things with parents. And in actually in our clinic, the children who come, you know, with depression, and even children in colleges, you know, they come. And when we discuss, we take, because case history taking is the first step. And then when they discuss about the relationship with parents, they say ki parents, you know, never ask us how we are. They are only interested in our achievements, in our academic achievements, especially.
That is the
They
thing.
ask us, okay, how are your studies going on? Ye padhai kiya, wo kiya, isme kitne marks aaye? So that is what they ask.
They don't sit down or discuss things, so they don't enjoy movie together. They don't eat together. So
unfortunately, in a lot of families, yes, ma'am, that doesn't happen.
So we need actually counseling in many factors. Marriage counseling we need mothers counseling, new mothers counseling. Oh, so many counseling, but you know, the teachers counseling, I feel it is the most important. Mothers counseling too, it is important. This should be there. But teachers, let their eyes open now. Let them see a new world, how they have to deal with the students now.
Yes, yes.
But one thing they will be bound to learn, I'm telling you, because you have, I think, gone through the NEP policy, you will find that there will be a public portal, MHRD, and this portal will be accessible to all. If somebody finds any problem, somebody is, you know, sort of abused or, you know, dealt in an uncomfortable way or anything, which is, you know, hurting or, you know, so damaging the emotions, they can, or anybody heard it, or the parents, they can put it on the portal of Center Reliance. This is one of the things which has been, that has been given, and therefore this has become important, that they should know, the teacher should know how to learn and take the training on emotional regulations program, wherever and however they can get. Lots of programs they can do, and we are going to conduct one very soon for you all.
Yes. That's a promise we are making to ourselves and to you also. Yes, CTF will certainly take it up. Assam chapter will certainly take this up. And now, ma'am, since there are no questions coming in, maybe because of inhibitions, if they have questions, they can always get to you, reach out to you through us. They can always message us. We'll do that. We'll send it across to you. And now I think we'll wrap up this wonderful session. And so I have to complete the formalities also and offer the vote of thanks from our side. And we are really, really very grateful to Mrs. Pompi Sharma for, again, taking time out from a hectic schedule to be here with us, to share her vast experiences and her knowledge with all of us. I don't know, I'm sure everybody has benefited, but I have also benefited. I have learned a lot. I have really, really learned a lot. And I'm definitely going to share it with other teachers also in the days to come. So thank you so much. A bouquet of thanks goes out to you, first of all.
Thank
So,
you.
and the next vote of thanks goes out to our versatile, ever energetic Professor Nilima Bhagwati ma'am. She's the anchor, like, the rock of Gibraltar for us. And under her guidance, we here in the CTF Assam, we are being able to move forward. So thank you, ma'am. In spite of your hectic schedule too, you somehow found time to be here with us all throughout. Thank you once again for your guidance and your motivation. And we are immensely grateful to our partner, Gracia Technology, headed by the CEO, Biju Pegu, and his dynamic team. Without them, our programs would not see the light of the day. They are the greatest supporters, always with us like our shadow. And we take this opportunity to thank you, Gracia Technology, from the heart. Our participants and viewers, yes, a big bouquet of thanks goes out to all of you, because your presence, virtual presence, indeed makes a difference. It makes our program more vibrant, and it, drives us on to bring in more and more areas for discussions, just so that everyone benefits. If you benefit, the society benefits. So this is the you take away from here. So we are indeed grateful to you for your presence. We are thankful to you, and we look for your cooperation, your support in the days ahead too. And our CTF Life members, family, there is no need to say thank you to the family. The family is always supportive in all our endeavors. So thank you, but still they deserve a word of thanks. So a big thank you goes out to our CTF family members too. And of course, all our well-wishers, they always motivate us through their distance, presence, whatsoever, and their good wishes and their good vibes. So thank you, all of you. Thank you, all of you. We'll be back with you in your midst again next month with another Guest of the Month program. And now it's time for the national
anthem. And thank you, Dr. Archana, for moderating, for giving the vote of thanks, for introducing the guest. You have played a very significant role today. And really, on behalf, I should not thank you, you're a family member, very important family member, but thank you. And I request all my participant friends, please pass this message to all your colleagues, to all your friends, okay? Why emotional intelligence should be taken care of. Okay, we'll stand for the national anthem.
Jana Mana Adhinayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchchala Jaladhi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे Jaya 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 He.
Thank you, Gracia Technology, for playing the national anthem. And now, formally, I declare that the program Guest of the Month has come to an end. Thank you, viewers, participants. Thank you, everyone. And a special thank you once again to Mrs. Pompi Sharma.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And it is indeed a pleasure to be here and meeting such, full of enthusiasm, such enthusiastic people, such vibrant people, and really an honor for me.
Yeah, we'll be in contact with you. Okay.
Yes.
start
And
another
definitely we'll communicate regarding how we can proceed on with the workshop, 3 days workshop.
Yes.
It will be for 1 hour program.
Mm.
And as Archana has said, first we'll go for the parents,
Yeah.
and then we'll make it for the teachers. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Pompi.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you.
excellent,
Thank you.
excellent.
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
leaving.
Good
Yes.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good
Good
evening.
evening. Good
Good
evening.
evening, ma'am.